Hi all, I'm going to try and show you about doing the dry point etching. I know I've sent you stuff already, but hopefully this bit of a demo will help. I have put a load of newspaper down, clean area. I have a slab of granite over here. It's a broken piece of granite, but it's perfect for putting my ink on. A bit like the things that we use in class, the pieces of acetate to put ink on. So glass or a plastic perspex sheet or a granite surface is good for putting ink on because you can wash it off. And of course I'm going to make a registration sheet. So I have my etching plate, which I have been using the needle on. So I don't know, can you see that? I'm going to put this sheet behind it maybe. Can you see? Yeah. So you see we're doing my space. I've done a chair. It was my mother's chair and I had recovered the cushions on it with Marimekko fabric. It was really, I love the fabrics. Anyway, that's what I've done. And using the etching needle, you've all been given an etching needle like this, right? Well, that's actually a scribe, and you can get different sized etching needles, so they have different size points on them. You can use a nail, you can use sandpaper, because what you're doing is when you put a mark into your etching plate or your matrix, when you scratch a mark into it, that mark and those scratchings are going to hold the ink in it. So when I cover this plate with ink, I'm going to rub it off. I'll show you how to do that, and the ink will be left in all the grooves that you've made. That's why your drawing module is very important for this, because you're doing things like cross hatching and making tone with that. So that's kind of what you will apply to this case here. So I'm assuming now at this stage you have your drawings done and you've decided what size your plate or what size your etching is going to be. So then you want your size of your paper that you're going to use for your prints to suit the etching plate. So what I'm doing is I have an A4 sheet here, and you've done this before. I'm going to place the matrix or the plate in, in a nice position on that. You can measure it if you like. I'm not measuring it in this case because I'm bold. So I'm drawing around this. It means that you know when you put the plate down on this registration sheet that it's kind of in a good spot, so you're not going to end up with your picture in a frame and it's all skewy. So as I say, put top on the top of it and bottom on the bottom. So keep this throughout your print making process, and this will go underneath. So I'll just put that over to one side for the moment, right? Now I'm going to just turn the camera around a little bit, and hopefully you can see I'm going to think. Okay. Now you can do. Oh, I need to get a pair of gloves. Excuse me for a minute. I have a box of gloves. Everyone has gloves in this strange time, eh? So I have a pair of gloves here. It's a water-based etching ink. This is it. This is a common one you can get. Okay. You can buy the inks in Evans. You can get them online. You can contact printmakers, graphic studio. You get materials for your printmaking. So I'm opening the ink now. You don't need to put too much ink out. Well, maybe I'm not opening the ink. So Maybe I should have had all this. Okay, so here we go. So there's a little film over the ink, and I'm gonna scoop it out. I brought a little tool here, so I'm gonna scoop a little bit of ink out. Now the ink for Drypoint etching is a much thicker ink. You'll notice, if you can see that. Sorry, it's much thicker than the lino printing ink. So I'm just making a kind of a little small pile of ink there. I'm going to use defunct, I promise, credit card, and I'm just going to get the ink and catch it on the card. Okay, here's my plate, and I'm going to cover the entire plate in this. So it's hard to show you what I'm doing with this, but you can see that I'm scraping the ink over the entire plate. All right. So it's kind of going into all the little grooves that I've made in the plate. Now I have no idea. I haven't done this, so I don't know what it's going to turn out like, guys. Now, scrape off what you can. We'll make sure you have it everywhere. Oh, another little tip I forgot to tell you there is, and I should have had it there ready for you, is, you know that lovely edge you get on a print when you see it? You know, that when it goes through the press, it kind of leaves an impression. Well, you'll achieve that really nicely if you just get a bit of sandpaper or a file, like a little needle file. Actually, probably even a nail file would do it, because it's only thin perspex or acetate. So just file along the edge where it's been cut, the plate, and it'll give a nice, it'll clean the edge for you and give you a nice clean edge. Okay, so I've kind of covered the plate in ink there, right? So it's in all my grooves, hopefully. So now I'm going to take out the ink out of off the top surface. So I'm using a piece of cloth. This is kind of like a satiny type lining cloth. I couldn't get any of this. I actually bought curtains, lining curtains in IKEA for €9. I'm going to cut them up for you guys to use. But a lot of people use like a fine hessian, which is very good for this as well. So this is very important, and you can't rush this. And you don't want your paw marks on this, so you try and hold it. But I'm gonna, do you see the way I've made that into kind of a mushroom? So instead of just like scrunching the cloth up and rubbing it, you can see I've done a mushroom there before. So I catch the cloth, right, and I fold it in on itself. I keep going like that until I have like a sort of a pad. You see? Sort of a pad, like a mushroom shaped pad. Okay, so I'm going to go in circular movement and take off the surface ink. I don't know what this video is going to be like, but you can see I'm starting to take it off. Okay. And I need to tighten that up again. I think I'll just move. I have a rattling vessel there. And I'm shaking the table. This better. Now, this takes a little time, but we'll continue with it. I have my paws on that. Now you'll see that where I put my big finger, I probably have left a mark. But it's starting to come, it's starting to reveal that it's catching, the ink is caught in. Now, you see, so hopefully that's going to print. I'm going to try and wipe the back of it now as well, because if you're messy like I really am, so you also want to clean the edges. So look, go along your edges and clean them so you haven't got a big load of ink on your edges. Okay, it's exciting. Now the other thing we have to do is we have to soak the paper, right? So you put the paper that you're going to use into a bath or sink of water for about 5 minutes. Now I'm obviously not going to do it for 5 minutes because we'll be here all day. So now another little tip, but I don't know how this is going to work out. You can, right? You can, when you're doing this, if you want a really, really, really clean area with you can go around with cotton buds are great, and you can clean off an area. You can also go around with cotton buds, like let's say I get a bit adventurous if this comes out and I want to put a bit of colour into it. So I could go over, let's say, this area here, you know, before I cover it with black, obviously, but I could go with red ink and get red ink there and clean it off, and blue ink everywhere else or whatever. So, you know, you can actually do fabulous things. Now, you're never going to get the same again because you're doing it by hand, but you can do fab things with it. I'm going to put this down now. I need to take off these at the moment. Of course, Anne gave me lovely little tweezers to use. And of course, I haven't got them, but I'll use an actual tweezers. So to take the paper, okay, so I'm going to just bring the paper over to the sink. So I have my registration sheet, and I'm taking the paper. 2 sheets of paper, 2 sheets over to the sink. You use the tweezers because you don't want any mucky marks on your lovely paper. Okay, so I have water in the sink there. Well, actually, put a bit more in. So there's an actual sheet of Fabriano there. I'll just put this one in on top of it. Okay, so you just immerse it in the water. This one as well. Now, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. The reason you're putting the paper into the water is because the ink is in those little grooves and it's going through a press, and the paper is much happier to take the ink out of the little grooves when you put it through the press. If you soak it in water, it's kind of making it I don't know, ready for the ink. So I'm just let me see. I'm taking my sheet out. Okay, so I'm giving it a little drip, and I have set up over here Frank sheet. Now, I'm just going to pat that. I don't know what you can see, but I'm just patting. So you just want to pat the sheet, kind of take the real wet out of it. Okay. Now, I'll just leave that there for a second and set up my press. So I have a really tiny little press here. So it's a good idea to put a couple of sheets underneath. So here's my registration sheet. So I'm going to just put that down on the bed of the press. Okay, I'm going to just see if I can turn this thing around. I don't know. No, it's not going to let me do it. So, okay, and now set it up here. All right. Now, I'm going to get my paper. Now I can see that I haven't, you're going to see I haven't filed this properly. But anyway, it's just a first little. So I'm putting this in the position on the registration sheet. Did you see that? So just in, you know, you've done it before. And I'm going to match up my paper. This is my damp paper. Okay. So this is wet, this paper. And I'm doing the same thing as per usual. Lining it up with the edge of my registration sheet. And then dropping it down. Okay. Now, another sheet of paper over this. Okay. And then your blanket over it. And hopefully, I'm going to roll this through. Okay. So you can see the mark of, can you see that? I don't know. The mark of the print come through. Oh, there it is. Okay, a little bit. So there we have our first pull. Oh, you can't see it. There you go. Great. All right.